So there's a particular class of stocks I'm a little worried about for the future. Not only do I like to invest in great stocks and great companies at a good price, like I've been talking about over the last few weeks on this channel with my buys of Microsoft as well as Meta when they were down, but also I like looking at particular classes of stocks and thinking about where the future is going. Maybe even using some later studies that have come up recently about what the future could possibly look like. So the major area that I'm a little concerned for is one that's been really one area that I'm sure a lot of people made millions or even billions of dollars from, which is oil stocks. So we have four charts that basically show the world just passed a major clean energy milestone. And if you obviously have any idea about what's going on in the world, there is a global initiative to really get more into renewable energy because there's such a huge concern of the climate. Now, obviously, I'm not going to get into, politics of this type of stuff, whether, I lean one way or the other, any of that. This is not a political channel. I'm not going to get into that stuff. But as far as what's going on in terms of charts and what they are saying, apparently there's a record-breaking 30% of the world's electricity was produced by renewables last year, that being around 2023. So this, of course, they're calling a crucial turning point toward clean energy, and now we are seeing more and more of this rising. They say it could reach somewhere around 60% renewable energy by 2030, which of course is just 6 years away. So my first thoughts of this are I like to invest long term. I don't want to be a day trader, at least not right now. And when I think of stuff like this, I think, well, if I buy a stock, I want to be able to hold it long term and, maybe even earn some dividends from it and not have to constantly worry about if it's going to be up or down today or not. To just kind of see where the trajectory goes throughout the years. So I'm worried about oil stocks, and obviously oil has been a huge part of, growth in terms of stocks and major companies, multi-billion dollar companies. And some of the top stocks here that are considered some of the top oil stocks here in spring of 2024 include, Shell, of course, with a market capitalization of 235 billion. You have BP with 111 billion and many others that you may have heard of as well. So I would be concerned about these types of stocks right now and where they are headed. They might be good right now. They might have that really nice dividend yield. I've noticed some of these companies, they have a really nice dividend yield that really entices you to want to buy them, especially if you're trying to retire early, at some point and be able to live off of, or at least supplement your income with that dividend income. The problem is, what are these companies going to look like in the future? What's the price going to be like? And how long were you willing to hold some of these companies? But like I said, oil stocks are very enticing because of their really high dividend yield. Many of them have a really low price to earnings ratio, which is another indicator a lot of people look for. But to me, the way I'm looking at it, this is obviously not financial advice, but I'm looking at this like I would rather buy into an industry that I feel is the future and not the past. So if we're looking at some of the top renewable energy stocks right now, some that you might look at, or at least some notable ones according to NerdWallet, include Constellation Energy with 140% return over the past year, Renew Energy Global, Centrias Electricas Brasileiras, I don't know how to say that. I probably said that completely wrong. Fluence Energy Inc. and Enlight Renewable Energy Ltd. are a few that were recommended by NerdWallet. I'm not necessarily going to buy those just because NerdWallet recommended them. I mean, Constellation Energy seems to be doing pretty well, but these are just some major ones to look at. From what I've seen from my little bit of research into renewable energy stocks, there's not really just one that seems to dominate. Like if you think of some of these other S&P 500 type stocks where there's these dominant stocks that have been in the S&P 500 for decades that dominate certain categories. But for renewable energy, it seems like it's kind of spread out. It's more diverse. So you really have to do some extra research to figure out which ones of these you might be interested in. But either way, whether you invest in this or not, whether I end up investing in one of these companies or not, it seems that the world is actually making some progress when it comes to renewable energy. They have 30% of it produced last year. They're on track to reach 60% by 2030, but who knows if that'll actually happen or not. But as you can see, there's still a huge dependence on fossil fuels right now. But you can see, the trend. What is the trend? What are we looking for in the future? Nuclear could also be an option in the future, depending on how governments view nuclear. Some people are very much in favor of that as well. But in terms of stocks, I think I am going to possibly avoid things like fossil fuel related stocks and maybe look towards renewables. But like I said, I don't necessarily have one particular one in mind yet. But once I do come to that conclusion, I'll be sure to let you know on this channel.